Dream versus Daquavis has been an ongoing rivalry for well over a month, and after many hard-fought battles, they're both 1-1, with each of them having a win over the other, which means that they're now doing a 1v1 manhunt to determine the winner, which honestly will be insane. But who will end up taking home the W and win $100,000? If you didn't know, my predictions for this rivalry have been spot on so far, and I might have an idea of who will be taking the W in the manhunt. So without a further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so the long-awaited 1v1 manhunt between Dream and Daquavis is actually gonna happen. And you know, honestly, I was waiting for this. I feel like everybody wants to see this manhunt. It will be a crazy thing. And as we know, it's gonna be for all the marbles. And there's been countless people asking who will actually win the manhunt, because Dream and Daquavis mostly just make manhunts. Dream makes a lot less of them as of recent, but Daquavis literally posts like weekly manhunt videos, and a lot of people might think that this is gonna be a very, very close battle. But one thing that people aren't seeing is the fact that Daquavis basically fakes all of his manhunts, and the way it works is really, really simple. He basically just slows down the tick rate of the server, does all the crazy stunts in slow motion, and then just speeds up the footage. And that's basically the reason his manhunts look like AI generated, meaning that all his manhunts are basically fake. They're not real. He didn't actually do the manhunt. They're just insanely staged scenes that aren't really meant to be legit. And you know, I don't think that's particularly a bad thing. Everybody has their own taste in content. A lot of younger Minecraft viewers might enjoy content like that. And you know, sometimes I even find it interesting to see what he can come up with. But yeah, from the public information that's available, Daquavis isn't really that experienced in doing raw manhunts. But as we know, he has been practicing recently and even beat Dream in the skills duel that they had, meaning that he has a lot of knowledge over the game. But now let's go to Dream. He started making manhunt videos like over 5 years ago. He definitely has a lot, and I mean a lot of experience. But the main question that a lot of people have been asking, does Dream fake his manhunts? You know, there's been countless allegations of Dream faking his manhunts over the years, but he has debunked a lot of them in a very logical fashion. But I think it's safe to say that it's not really that hard to fake a manhunt, and then when someone calls out a suspicious moment, it's not really that hard to explain what happened, even if it was faked or not. So I feel like when you talk about Dream versus Daquavis 1v1 manhunt based on pure experience, it has to go to Dream. He just has more tools in the cabinet, and we know they're both going to be very confident going into this manhunt, both very well practiced, very well experienced. It's definitely going to be a very, very interesting battle. And I actually ended up making like an advantage breakdown using AI to see what AI thinks about this 1v1 manhunt, which is interesting. And there's a lot of categories that it created, starting with experience, which I talked about briefly earlier. For Dream, it says that he has over 10 years of experience and he's an iconic manhunt creator, which is very, very true. I have to agree with that. And then when it comes to Daquavis, it says that he's a rising star, less manhunt specific rep, which is very true, and we went over that earlier. When it comes to movement / IQ, it says that Dream is extremely calculated under pressure. And when it comes to Daquavis, he's fast, instinctive, high mechanical skill, which I have to agree with. But here's what I have to say about the movement / IQ thing. It says that Dream is extremely calculated under pressure. But one thing I kind of forgot to mention, and I don't mean this as pure disrespect, but Dream's hunters over the years have probably been one of the worst Minecraft players to ever exist. Like for example, George Not Found, Bad Boy Halo, and Frost Awesome Dude. They are horrible at Minecraft PvP. Like I don't think it's that hard for you to escape from them in a manhunt video, especially if there's a thing or two that's staged in there. You never know. And as we know, Sapnap's the only one that's actually quite decent at the game. So I think it's very important to mention that yeah, Dream does have very weak hunters when it comes to actual skill. And now that we go to escape tricks, it says that Dream is master of clutches, water / lava play, which is a very interesting way of putting it. And for Daquavis, it says that his escape tricks are decent but not as developed, which I think is a fair assessment based on both of these guys' content over the years. And now we go to chasing skills. For Dream, it says that it's solid but focused more on escapes, which is true. And for Daquavis, it says that he's known for insane pursuit and aggression, which is a very interesting way of putting it, because the way Daquavis makes his manhunts is very interesting. It's kind of not real in a way, but overall I have to agree with that. I think it's a very fair assessment. And this is where it gets kind of funny. When it comes to the nervous factor, for Dream it says that he sometimes plays safe under pressure, and for Daquavis it says that he's extremely confident, goes for bold plays, and it's probably referring to him doing his crazy slow motion plays, which you know does make sense in my opinion. And now when we go to game sense, for Dream it says that he reads situations, plans 10 steps ahead, and for Daquavis, great reactions but not always planned. And this is where it gets even funnier. For bridging speed, it says that Dream has average, reliable but not flashy bridging, and for Daquavis, god bridging fast as hell, which is absolutely hilarious. And now we go to PvP skill. It says that Dream is top tier in high pressure PvP, and for Daquavis it says that he's nearly equal, very aggressive, which you know is pretty bold, but it does make sense. And now we go to a very, very important point when it says fan expectation. For Dream, it's very, very high. He has a lot of pressure to win again. And for Daquavis, it says that his fan expectation is medium because he's an an underdog. Dream's strength is in strategy, experience, and escapes. He turns chaos into opportunity. And Daquavis' strength is in raw aggression, mechanical skill, and fearless playstyle. This is all said by AI, by the way. If Daquavis is the hunter, it could get dangerous for Dream early unless he pulls off clutch escapes. And if Dream is the hunter, he'll likely out-strategize Daquavis, forcing mistakes and slowly choking him out. Now, you got no idea how accurate I feel like this is. And I'll have to completely agree with the AI here. I feel like everything it said is pretty accurate. There's not really much lies in it or inaccurate information in it. And based on the analysis that the AI gave me, I think that Dream wins quite easily. Yeah, sure, it might get tough at some parts. Daquavis might catch him off guard, but overall, I think Dream is winning this rivalry. It's gonna be close, it's gonna be fun, but it's probably gonna be a W for Dream. But yeah, guys, what do you think about this 1v1? Who do you think will win? And yeah, I'm out.